and welcome into another Best Ball Draft for the Fantasy 4-Pack. I'm your host, Ian Power, joined as always by Frankie Santiago and Matthew Vitale. Here on Underdog in a puppy lobby. That is the name of the tournament lobby, not a lobby full of puppies, which would be awesome, but
or just a tournament where you get to win a puppy.
I mean, that would be cool too. But yeah, we're here waiting for this lobby to fill. It actually just filled right now, so we're gonna be jumping to see what picks we got. Yeah. We're actually skipping news today for anyone who's wondering where that delightful segment is, because it's the beginning of July and there is none.
Yep. Not much to talk about, which is actually a good thing.
Yeah. No news is good news at this time of year, because this time of year it's like Jeff Wilson tore his ACL in the shower.
Oof, guys. I'm looking at the report. I am pick 9. Ian got pick 11. Frankie got pick 12. Have fun.
Frankie,
no!
Are you ready to get Are you ready for the snipe show, Frankie?
No!
Are you ready for the snipe show?
This is my least favorite pick this year. But also at the same time, it's not my least favorite pick this year. Honestly, I really hate the top half picks this year.
Frankie, I'm going to be bookending you. I'm going to be sniping you left and right.
Technically, you get to snipe him, and then he gets to snipe you right back. So
honestly,
Frankie doesn't know who I want.
Honestly, as much as I hate the fact that you're going to be sniping me, I like that I'm not in the top half, because I honestly hate the top half picks this year.
This is the latest I've drafted this year. I've done 17 best ball drafts so far in tournaments, and this is the latest I've picked. I'm thrilled.
And we're rolling.
Let's go. Christian McCaffrey off the board, followed by Dalvin. Kind of, straight. Like, those are the top two. Those are going to be the top two. That isn't changing. I'm interested to see Kamara at 3. Okay.
Yep.
That's
someone worried about the Saquon news, as you should be.
So I was talking I was talking to my brother about this today, and kind of just reaffirming who I've been putting inside my tiers. I really feel like that next tier down from Christian McCaffrey and Dalvin deserves to be Kamara, Taylor, and Chubb. Because I feel like those 3 running backs are going to be the running backs with the highest ceilings outside of the 2 guys that you can get at 1 and 2. No knock against Saquon or Henry or Elliott, but like those are all guys that tread on the tires or in bad offense.
And also Saquon might not be there to start the season.
Yeah,
that's the big.
Which is a question I'm about to have. Is the guy in front of me has 15 seconds left?
Oh wow!
He picks Saquon. I think you got to just lock Jonathan Taylor here and walk away.
That's what you would think.
Unless you really like Cam Akers.
I'm gonna go another way. I'm between Cam Akers. Here, if I didn't already have exposure to Chubb, I'd be taking Chubb here.
Sure.
I'm gonna go Cam Akers because he's another guy like in this range, and just to kind of vary my options up here, which is I think if you're doing puppy, you're probably going to be able to get in 3, 4, 5 drafts depending on what you've got to spend. It's only $5, so if you've got that kind of cash to play with,
3, 4, 5. I've already done like 11 this week.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. It's like if you only have $10 that you can spend, and you only.
Oh, I know you're in heaven here right now.
Oh man, I get to just take Nick Chubb at 111. Yes, please.
Exactly. I think they're both fine picks right now. Both have offenses that should do well. And like I said, it's purely like I see them very closely. I think Nick Chubb a little bit more so than Akers, but I want to swap it up and get some Akers.
I just think Nick Chubb's the best pure runner in the league, and with someone who is just that like oozing with talent, to be able to take him this late in the first round is a gift, because he's essentially he gives you what Derrick Henry gives you. Like he was on pace 1,500 yards last season. I'm taking Joe Mixon here, but
I was going to say like. Jonathan Taylor, Eckler for Frankie. I think those are great picks right there. So I want to see what you were thinking.
So I was hoping Frankie wasn't going to take Eckler because I wanted to take Eckler at that spot. But in a position like this, when Eckler hey, let me finish. In a position like this, when Eckler gets taken, Joe Mixon is my immediate backup because he's going to see a ton of volume. The Bengals should be an improved team. They didn't really fix the O-line, but they should be an improved team this season. And volume is king at that position.
Who else would I have taken there?
I mean, Aaron Jones. You've taken him at that.
That's
quite often.
That's a little bit high for me. I mean, so if I'm in the
I've seen you do that before.
Well, no, if I'm in the 8th spot, that's a good pick. But if I'm in the 12th spot, where I'm still getting that, I mean, we've talked about this a ton this year already, where this year is a little bit top heavy in the first 3 rounds, where it's like
for sure
you're not really reaching for anybody because there's so much talent at the top this year.
Yeah, I mean we're a little over halfway through the second, and David Montgomery went off the board in the second round.
That's
Najee
a bit
still
of
on the board. That's weird.
that's a bit of a reach.
Yeah,
But I mean, it's a good it's a good illustration of the running back drought though, where it's like there's a lot of good running backs, but they're all gone at the end of the second round, end of the third round. You know, like we're going into the third right now, and the best running back on the board is DeAndre Swift.
Yeah, exactly that reason. I did it. Like I took a wide receiver in the second round. I felt like I had no running backs, and I started with Chubb, and I still got Hopkins, J.K. Dobbins, and I felt like I had nothing. But so that's where it's like I like Antonio Gibson. I think he's got talent. It's the team still has a little bit there to be like, oh, are they actually going to be that good?
Sure.
But with what I know is coming, and the fact that Aaron Jones just went off the board, I'm like, I've got nothing left. I'll just take him. I'll reach and take him there.
No, I think that's because you know what you're getting in the next round isn't gonna the running backs that are going in the third round later, for the most part, outside of like J.K. Dobbins and maybe DeAndre Swift, depending on what you think about him, they aren't really going to be competing for a top 7 spot.
Exactly. And then on top of that, you can look at all the quality wide receivers you can just get here. Robert Woods still on the board. Allen Robinson, Terry McLaurin, Keenan Allen, all these great names.
Julio Jones.
It's just
Chris Godwin.
This year through the first 4 rounds, maybe a little bit into the 5th, there's just so much talent as far as wide receivers.
So if I tell you, I know you love DeAndre Swift. You lock him.
As I skip right past him. And
Chris Carson, that makes sense.
Carson, as he's one I've always kind of been back and forth with, but fantasy analysts everywhere will tell you this guy's underrated. And it's a little, they said one thing, it's a little bit of a reach, but I would just dry out that position and walk.
No, I mean that's 3.9 is pretty good for Carson. That's roughly where he's going so far this year.
Those wide receivers there, I really like. I still like Terry, Allen Robinson, all them. It's just like having 3 stud running backs right off the bat. It covers me so much for injury potential, especially which Carson is. A
See,
of.
I'm gonna go ahead and just dry up that position even more and take DeAndre Swift here. I really like DeAndre Swift's talent. Detroit is gonna run a lot this year. Dan Campbell is, I think it's fair to say he's fond of the running back position. Even if they're a bad team, we've seen bad running backs succeed on teams that want to feature them. I think the DeAndre Swift is a fine third running back. And then Frankie takes Allen Robinson, pivoting away from the running back position, huh?
Miles Sanders is still down there.
Yeah, I'm thinking about that right now. I'm torn between whether I want to just, sure up running back or if I want to just settle quarterback right now, Pat Mahomes. I'm probably going to fade Pat Mahomes here. And you know what? I'm not even going to go for the running back.
Scary Terry?
No. Yeah.
1 second.
I feel like Frankie's missed his pick. No, he didn't.
No, I was thinking about Scary Terry or Robert Woods. Robert Woods.
Robert Woods.
We talked about him a little bit in the hot take show with Matt Stafford, where him and Cooper Kupp have been in the top 12 for the past 3 years. But
his finishes, he's basically like 15, 16, 15, 17. Like
the volume between him and Allen Robinson is phenomenal. But Scary Terry I think is going to take a step forward this year, especially with an actual quarterback throwing the football.
I disagree there. I think he was basically playing at a ceiling last season, and because he saw so many targets. He saw so many targets. It's hard for him to take an actual step forward, especially when you factor in that the offense brought in Curtis Samuel. Fitzmagic is a little more turnover prone than what they were last year under their amalgamation of quarterbacks, or at least just as turnover prone, if not a little bit more. Antonio Gibson should get thrown to more. I don't see where the additional value is going to come from for him. I took Chris Godwin to start my wide receiver position off. He's a volume guy. I think that the Tampa Bay offense is going to be great this year. I like him a little bit better than Robert Woods. I think he has a higher ceiling. And I really like taking, especially in best ball, I like taking a glue guy as my first wide receiver. So that way I always kind of just know that I have like a baseline 10 points coming out of at least one guy at the position.
Yeah. Right there, I was kind of just tossing between a few receivers, obviously not Lockett.
Took Bob Woods.
Bob Woods. Like I said, I like his consistency at the position, and because I kind of faded it, I was even considering going for Miles Sanders just to grab him and see if he can have a bounce back here. But I kind of want to cover my bases a little bit more and get myself a low end one with a high end two, most likely type guy.
That's interesting. 4-7 and the first quarterback goes off the board, and Kyler Murray. I've talked to you guys about this a couple times.
We have had one more. Allen went at 3-6.
Did I really? Oh.
Yeah. Allen went at
That's
3-6.
gross also.
Yep.
I've talked to you guys about this a couple
Over
times.
Mr. Mahomes?
I really don't like in redraft. Fine, because it gives you a stated advantage over the people streaming. But I really don't like in best ball taking early quarterbacks because it's so like you aren't beholden to that early quarterback. You can go late in drafts and take like Jalen Hurts, Aaron Rodgers, and Tom Brady as your 3 quarterbacks. And just get the best of them every week. And then in these early rounds, be able to spend those valuable picks on guys like Adam Thielen or Deontay Johnson or Mark Andrews and shore up those other really important positions with these high skill players.
The fact that this is what I was talking about earlier. The fact that these players are still here in the 5th round is amazing.
Right, but like that's why I don't like taking a quarterback early in best ball, because it's too easy to replace a quarterback in a league where you automatically get the highest score every week.
Oh, 100%.
Right, and like I said, when we're talking about redraft leagues, like guys, so like old Big Ben, we knew that you could get a bunch of points when he was playing home, but then away you'd have to figure out an option, especially if he was playing a good defense. So now you'd have to always roster 2 quarterbacks. That was a drain on your bench. Like all these reasons why it's bad, but like if Big Ben was old Big Ben, you just get his home games. You just get his home games. You get covered.
Sure.
Just any quarterback you have out there.
Yeah, no, it's wild, and I get it. Those quarterbacks, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray, Pat Mahomes, Dak Prescott, Lamar Jackson, they're gonna be putting up crazy numbers. But like, is it really worth? To me, it's like, is it really worth the opportunity cost that you have to pay to take them that early? When you could get comparable production and basically always be guaranteed to get that comparable production later in drafts.
Yeah.
I mean, especially with like my boy Jameis Winston going basically undrafted.
I said my piece on him. I was actually considering rolling through here as my picks rolling up. I was actually considering taking Dak Prescott here just because I feel like he has that real boom upside with the quality of that offense. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to hold true. I'm going to do, because I already took Josh Allen in the 5th, I believe, in one of my previous drafts. So I was like, I will hold off on him.
I feel like the only reason why I might take one of these quarterbacks in these middle rounds is if I spent a high pick on like DeAndre Hopkins or Tyreek Hill, and I really want to get that that bomb stack to be able to just dump points on people.
Yeah, here.
What are you thinking?
I don't really like much. I was hoping for my boy Deontay Johnson right there.
Sure.
Who I threw my weight behind.
Yeah, he fell a couple rounds earlier, or a couple picks earlier.
A couple picks. I was off by 3. So there, I was just like, I'll just grab one of the better tight ends to try and lock that space up. If I'm gonna go late quarterback, I don't want to go late quarterback and late tight end and have to go basically back and forth. I'll lack a guy that has some guaranteed volume.
Perfect.
Ian, you gonna snipe me here?
Gravy Train didn't take my guy, so I'm locking up T.J. Hawkinson here. I have a lot of Hawkinson so far this season. I love where he's going, like right at the end of the 5th, beginning of the 6th. I think he has a great chance to end up as a really good tight end this season. He's basically the only pass catcher in Detroit. Mm-hmm. Like, I think he is in a fantastic spot, and in best ball he just anchors the position. And now I can forget about it until I draft Jonnu in the 12th.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, I was looking at him as well. I just went for the guy in the better offense because
no, that's fair.
Jackson starts throwing the ball better, I'm going to benefit because he loves going to Mark.
I have found myself in many drafts being faced with my pick is up and Mark Andrews and Hawkinson are on the board, and I'm like, I've kind of just been like alternating,
Exactly.
Pick Andrews one, Hawkinson the next. 'Cause I like both of them.
And that's how you should be in best ball.
And then for this pick, I'm gonna spin around here and grab Cortland Sutton. Give myself some upside at the wide receiver position. Get a big play guy to attack on next to Chris Godwin. I still want to draft some more running back depth, but the guys in this range, I think I can wait on. The only guy that I really like here is Trey Sermon, and I already have a lot of Trey Sermon. So I think I'm comfortable waiting on the running backs in this range, and taking some higher upside wide receivers, and then trying to grab some just upside running backs or flex worthy guys as my 4th and 5th guys later on.
Yeah. I went against my normal. I went with Claypool here, just because if he maintains that touchdown upside, obviously not to, I don't think to the same degree, but if he remains a high touchdown volume guy, he could really be good for managers. Where when he's not getting touchdowns, he's not scoring, but he's sitting on your bench. But when he is scoring, he could be winning leagues.
See, my issue, while I agree that's a great general strategy for best ball, my issue with picking Claypool is the price for Claypool, because he's being drafted at his absolute ceiling right now. Like, we saw it in the end of last year where Claypool just kind of like disappeared. Mm-hmm. That's not what you want from a guy you're spending a 6th round pick on. if he was going in like the 7th, 8th, maybe 9th round, sure, maybe I'm considering it there. But 6th, with like guys like Jerry Jeudy and Visca Chenault, Will Fuller, guys like that still on the board, it's tough for me to pay that price.
I guess when I look at it, like when I looked at those other ones, Chark, Judy, like it's like who knows.
Chark's a poison pill. I avoid him.
Right. I was just kind of putting them all because they're all going in the same area. Like Judy, Debo, like they're all solid receivers. I like their talent, maybe like over the unknown of what Claypool could be this year. But I think that Claypool has a better throwing offense, which might lead him to just taking more of the house.
You're just hoping for efficiency with him. Right. You're hoping that because he's going to get probably 4 or 5 targets a game because he's not even the second receiver on the team. We saw that last year. You're hoping that he takes one of those to the house.
Exactly.
All right, so I believe your next pick is coming up here momentarily. What are you thinking for your next pick here?
As we come,
you've currently got 3 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a tight end.
I have not gotten to own Laviska, and he's a guy that I spoke.
Well, you're not getting him this time either.
You are not getting him this time.
See, Vitaly, that's why you never say specifics. You talk in generalities because the other people can hear you.
They are watching this not streamed.
Yeah, we're actually
recording.
broadcasting this directly to the other 9 people in here.
I want Jalen Hurts really bad. Don't take him. I would be sad. I'd be a sad boy. I thought it was purple for a second. I was like, wow. But no, Kareem Hunt was another good pick. I'm just like I said.
So what are you thinking about here?
Ooh.
I know it's a rough slate of things.
I want to go wide receiver just to get myself a third one, but I'm not a huge fan of these guys right here. Like I said, I was hoping for Vishka. I don't want Chark. Don't want to double up on Pittsburgh with Juju.
I mean, Antonio Brown and Will Fuller are both interesting.
Yeah.
Curtis Samuel could provide some upside. You're doubling up on Washington at that point, but
you know what? I will just go ahead and take a running back here, and I will take Damian Harris.
That's fair.
I've
been taking Damian Harris a lot in this range. He's someone that I'm always looking at in this round because he has carry upside basically.
It's like I said, it's just a guy that I do like. I'm worried about the new guy that they just drafted. I always keep forgetting.
Ramondre Stevenson.
He was compared to LeGarrette Blount, and when Bill really figures that out in game, I feel like we could see a lot of vulture touchdowns because that's what Blount was doing year after year.
It does seem to be something that Bill likes to do. Use different. Oh, I'm taking Raheem Mostert here.
I absolutely hate you.
I need a 4th running back. I hated Trey Sermon.
Absolutely hate you.
So in basically every best ball draft, I either take Trey Sermon or Raheem Mostert. I generally like to side on the Trey Sermon side of things. I think he's going to be more valuable over the balance of the season, but I'm going to get some good games out of Raheem Mostert, and he's a great 4th running back for me.
Running back that's still available for you, Frankie. James Robinson. He was very good last
year. He was like the 4th best running back last season. It's crazy. He's still on the board in the 7th.
If only I didn't have Travis Etienne on my team already. That'd be crazy.
And you just guaranteed that backfield.
No, I am gonna.
Will Fuller's not bad.
No, I'm gonna.
I completely screwed up your pick by taking Raheem.
I'm gonna reach on my second guy and pick up Ronald Jones here and just finish out my running backs. So that leaves me with Taylor, Eckler, Davis, Etienne, and Rojo. I mean, I'm fine with that as far as running backs go.
All right.
My receivers I'll fill in later. Tight ends I'm going to fill in late. And quarterbacks I'm going to fill in at the end of the draft like we already talked about.
So I'm actually going to take my first quarterback here because I know he's not going to fall to me. I'm locking in Tom Brady to pair up with Chris Godwin. I really like Brady's ceiling this season. I used to be Team Brady in decline. I've talked about this ad nauseum. I've given up predicting the cliff. I'm going to draft him like he's going to keep on playing at an elite level until he dies or retires.
Yeah. And we can at least see the minor cliff when he was in New England. It's now the cliff is now. Does he have talent around him? Like he can't just play with bums anymore that used to play tuba. And
I would call Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown talent. Yes. Not to mention Rob Gronkowski and OJ Howard. He's got a lot. He's got 1 or 2 weapons. Yeah.
He can still be great with greatness around him.
Yeah.
He can play. He played at a top level as long as he's got that. So yeah, I think that's a great pick right there.
And because this is important to stress too. I might not have normally picked him there if I wasn't picking at a turnaround pick, but because I have 22 picks until my next pick, I can look at the board and be like, Brady's not making it to me.
Yeah,
so if I want Brady, I have to take him there, even if it's a reach.
That's another reason why I don't really like the bookend picks, regardless of what side you're on, is because there's just so many picks in between. It's
You're
just
sitting here watching people go off the board like,
you're like, if you have one of those picks, especially in redraft too. I mean, I know we're doing best ball now, but you're gonna have to reach on some of these players that you're not gonna.
I mean, you have to reach on them in any format.
Well,
like it doesn't matter what format you're in. If you're trying to target players and you're at the corner picks, you have to reach.
And it's like, and that's the thing is like, don't be afraid to do that. Like you may not feel comfortable doing it at first. If this is like one of like, I don't know, maybe your
gotcha.
first,
Wrap around picks mean take whoever I need to take. I will draft David Montgomery in the first. Understood, Frankie. I'm reading you loud and clear.
No, I'm just saying, like, if this is one of like your first drafts, I mean, I don't know, maybe we have some newbies watching us, maybe we have some like veterans who are still not comfortable, drafting at the bookends.
Garrett.
But don't be afraid to reach for players that you really want, and if it bites you in the ass, so be it.
Yeah, it's kind of why I do like being a little bit in the middle. I think this year more towards the back, like the 7 pick, something like that, because then you can play who might drop to you. But if you're on the corners, you can't be like, oh, maybe they'll drop to me in 20 so picks. It's like, no, you just gotta be like, this guy goes in the second round, and I'm at the top of the second round. I just have to take them.
So speaking of dropping to you in 20 or so picks, you're up in 5 or so picks. What are you looking at here?
Well,
4-3-1. No quarterback still. Are you looking at a quarterback here?
I was, if I could just go ahead and take Burrow, but sadly he went at 9-3.
So are you considering Stafford here? I mean, you did draft Bob Woods.
I did. I diddly did.
Stafford is an easy
If
stack
you want
here.
If you want my constructive advice, I would take Stafford here. I really like Stafford a lot this year.
I mean, the quarterbacks going in this range are all pretty good. Stafford, Tannehill, Rodgers. It's weird to once again see Rodgers in this range after he dropped 48 last season, but here we are. Death, taxes, and Aaron Rodgers being slept on.
Yep, that's like I said. It's more and more looking like Stafford's going to be the guy here as it dries up.
Unless he goes at this pick.
Yes, he's going to go here because I just said it. Oh, there we go. That was the only reason I was confident I might get him is because I looked at the other teams and they all had 1 or 2 quarterbacks at least. So I was like, all right, no one needs a quarterback in front of me. And I know he's not going to probably get past this guy because he needs one. So he'll probably take Tannehill.
Sure.
Or go for Rodgers. I mean, if I was him, I'd just go for Rodgers if he's got his eyes set on that. Or maybe he goes running back because he has 1 running back.
Yeah, that is a bold
great.
strategy. He has 1 running back and it's Aaron Jones.
And he just went wide receiver again.
Interesting.
That's
With
very
Zach Moss
curious.
And Fournette and I would have taken Zach Moss. Like the reports are starting to
Zach or Tony Pollard.
take someone.
Gus Bus, AJ Dillon.
Ian, who are you thinking here? Because I'm taking a quarterback. It's gonna be somebody.
Trey Lance.
Well, no, I would say it's gonna be Tannehill or it's gonna be Rodgers here.
I'm actually locking up. I don't love the skill position players in this range, and this is generally where I'm taking quarterbacks anyway. So I actually locked up my second quarterback at 9-11, taking Ryan Tannehill, pairing him with Brady. I feel confident that week in, week out, one of those two is going to give me a big number, and now I don't have to pay attention to quarterback again until like round 16.
Yeah, if Vitali didn't take Stafford there and you didn't take him, which I'm sure if he didn't take him.
Oh, I would have taken Stafford.
I would say you probably would have taken him. I was going to draft Stafford there. I like Rodgers a lot. I mean, no matter where he goes, he's going to be an X factor on the field.
Sure.
He's probably not going to drop 48. But
for me, it's just the question mark of, is Rodgers going to play in Green Bay? Is he going to play in, probably not in Chicago anymore, but is he going to play in Denver? Is he going to play at all? And, meanwhile, I'm just looking at Tannehill, who already had Derrick Henry and A.J. Brown and then just got Julio Jones. Sure, that seems like a recipe for success to me.
Right.
I don't particularly like that pick there that I just made.
Davis, and who are you thinking here?
So, for me here, I am honestly going back to look at wide receiver.
Makes sense.
There's a couple in this range that I'm a fan of, and lately I've been taking shots at Rashad Bateman, who is actually gonna be the guy that I draft here.
Great football name.
Great football name. The Ravens like him. They spent a decently high pick on him to get him on their team. Lamar Jackson needed targets. We know that Sammy Watkins isn't it. We've seen Hollywood kind of flop. All signs seem to point towards if a wide receiver is going to be successful, it's going to be Rashad Bateman. And I don't like him in redraft formats, but I like him in this format because he's the type of receiver that, because his volume is going to be low, he's going to be sporadic when he goes off. So I just get to benefit from the upside.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a huge fan of these wide receivers right here.
You took Mr. Moss.
I did take Mr. Moss. Like I said,
A rolling Zach gathers no moss.
Exactly. Buffalo's going to be a top offense. I can potentially get a guy who could have some touchdown upside there, and he's my 5th running back. Basically, I can just say that position's done, unless I want to take somebody very late. But now I can just focus on my other positions of weakness, which, wide receiver, getting another quarterback, things like that. And I'll feel very comfortable with my running back.
I will say I was considering Tony Pollard there. He's a guy that I've actually been coming around on because I don't fully believe in Zeke.
He looked real good last year.
Yeah, he looked really good last year. I don't fully believe in Zeke. And if Zeke just comes out looking flat, or if he gets hurt, we could see Tony Pollard getting work this year. I don't think Zeke's going to lose the job to him, but Zeke's getting older. If an injury happens or if Zeke needs to take plays off, Tony Pollard can turn in real value.
It might end up being more of a timeshare than we think if he turns in the performance that he did.
Well, yeah, but I don't think he's going to straight up lose the job.
Well, no,
Jerry will try and save face and stick to that contract.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying, like, look at how he played last year. Like,
also, Vitale, your pick is coming up. What are you looking at? I guess after Frankie finishes his thought.
Go ahead and finish.
Well, it's like, I mean, he was one of the biggest disappointments of the year. I mean, look how he played in the absence of Dak. He played abysmally, and Tony Pollard played great. It might end up being more of a split share than we think it's going to be.
The one thing I think about this, Jerry is a man that loves his flash. That's everything to do with the Cowboys. That's why they took Zeke. Zeke, I think, if he dedicates himself and comes into the season with his body right, which I think was the big thing he didn't do last season, because he was holding.
What you mean when he was training in Punta Cana or wherever it was?
I'm sorry. If you put any of us in Punta Cana and you're like, all right, you can do running drills on the beach, or you can have Mai Tais, and you're like,
Yeah, I mean, I think we've all used that. Like, oh yeah, you doing some studying later?
I was doing some homework.
Yeah, like I said, you put someone in Punta Cana, you're sitting there like, I could run on the beach, or
I mean, especially when you got Zeke money, you're sitting over there like, yeah, I mean. That beach bar is looking pretty good right now. Oh, Jerry, yeah, Jerry, I'm training a lot.
Yeah. You got that contract?
Doing some 12-ounce curls, don't you worry.
Yeah, so like I said, I think he comes in Zeke shape, like he normally used to.
Yeah.
I think he can have a nice little bounce back here. But Tony Pollard's a threat. You can't get around it. He's a threat.
Sure. I mean, that's just the end. I mean, that's any sport. The young, hungry guy wants to go out there and win a contract, and Zeke just got paid. Mm-hmm. That is the thing. We've seen it. I mean, Albert Hainsworth is the guy that comes to mind. We've seen it time and time again that guys who are all about the money. Oftentimes they get paid and they disappear. Yeah, Zeke just got a bunch of guaranteed money. He could be like, "Hey, thanks, Jerry. Okay, bye."
He could. It's all about his drive to win and
Oof.
if he can cement himself.
Can I just talk about how much I hate those two picks just went off the board? AJ Green and then T.Y. Hilton. You should just not draft a player.
Yeah. I feel it's like people forgot that time in the middle of the season last year where we thought their careers were just done. Like, people forgetting that when the ball was still getting thrown to them, but it just wasn't coming down with them because they couldn't catch it anymore.
Yeah, when AJ Green had, I believe, the most drops in the league. He looked like he had hands made of bricks. Like, with all due respect, great players. At least AJ Green is probably going into the Hall of Fame, but like, man, did they look bad last season?
How are you sniping me 3 picks away? I don't understand. I don't understand.
I've always talked about how much I love Paris Campbell and how cheap he just stayed because he got hurt last year. Yeah, I can snipe that one from a mile away.
I'm going to take my my 5th running back here. I'm going to snap up David Johnson. Mostly because I think he's the best running back in Houston. Houston doesn't have a lot of weapons, and David Johnson's ceiling is gone, but he's a very safe floor, which I really like at the running back position. Especially if I get hit with the injury bug or something, and a couple of these guys go down. I like being able to count on, as long as he's on the field, being able to count on David Johnson to go out there and get me 8 to 12 points. Yeah. Frankie, were you gonna pick him?
No, because I already had 5.
I heard the dramatic sigh.
Like I was considering it. I already have 5 running backs, and I honestly don't know what the cap is on this website.
Yeah, I don't believe there is one.
But I probably wouldn't have picked him here because I really do need a tight end, and I need to fill out wide receivers a little bit more. Because I don't really have that boomer, bus guy.
No, you have bus guys.
I definitely have a lot of bus guys.
So, hey, update, special update. That gravy train fellow that's between me and Ian's pick right now. He went ahead and got his second running back, Melvin Gordon. I'm happy for him.
He doesn't have any wide receivers. He doesn't have any quarterbacks.
He has 8 wide receivers. Do not do that. Like,
It only.
any strategies you can employ when you're doing
It
this.
seems like he's trying to do like a modified 0 RB. Like he's doing like a 1. He's like, I got Aaron Jones. What more do I need? He's doing the Frankie RB strategy where Frankie's like, Aaron Jones scores enough points for 4 running backs. He's all like.
First of all, I went 5 through 7. Second of all, he's gonna be very disappointed if Aaron Rodgers gets traded.
I mean, I don't think he. So I still like Aaron Jones even if Rodgers gets traded or doesn't show up because Aaron Jones is a good running back on a offense with not a lot of weapons if Rodgers isn't there. Is his efficiency going to come down? Yes. He's still going to be good for fantasy even without Rodgers because that's just what he does. He's going to be less good. He's not going to be like a 4 touchdown threat anymore. But he's still going to be good.
Would you want to have him as one of your 2 running backs in best ball?
Frankie, I never want to have 2 running backs in best ball.
Exactly. That's my
5 is
point.
He has 3 now. He just took Darrell Henderson.
4 is my minimum, and the only time that I've taken 4 was the nutty draft that I was telling you guys about that happened the other day when I somehow ended up with Chubb, Jones, Dobbins, and Swift. And I was like, cool, that's the position. Done with it now. Yeah. Like, you want to have depth at running back because they're going to get hurt.
It's football. People get hit, and they could even, like I said, it could be a little bit of attrition that they have to sit out a game or 2, and that could kill you when you need to win later in the season. That's why it's another reason why we've always said win early because then you don't have to worry about when you lose.
Well, I mean, best ball isn't even about winning; it's about scoring points.
Yeah,
there is no. I mean, technically, I guess you're beating the other people. You're beating the field, but it's about scoring as many points as possible on a given week.
Yeah.
I just don't jive with that strategy at all because you are punting your second running back position basically, and hoping that your wide receivers and a wide receiver in the flex is going to make up for it, and it oftentimes doesn't, especially with how volatile wide receivers are. It's hard to be able to just he has a ton of wide receivers. He could have a week where they all flop.
Well, it's like
wide receivers do that sometimes.
we were just talking about it too. I mean, we were talking about Gravy Train. The guy who's picking at 1-1 just drafted his 3rd running back.
I get the thought process, but it's a bad thought process. Because the thought process is, okay, well, everyone's overdrafting running backs in the first 5 rounds. I should draft these awesome wide receivers. Sure, that makes sense until you realize that your best running back is David Johnson and you're screwed.
Yep. Like I don't think you could make a solid case to me this year that you should ever draft a not running back in the first round.
Especially with how deep wide receiver is. Like I'm gonna keep talking about it all summer. The position is stupid deep. You should be like when you can get Michael Thomas in the 4th round, you have no excuse to be taking wide receivers early.
Yeah, and especially with best ball where you just get their best game. There's enough guys deep in drafts where you can just be like, that guy could just get you a couple games.
So who you taking here, Vital? You got 1 quarterback, 5 running backs, 4 wide receivers, and 2 tight ends.
Ooh, I'm probably going quarterback here. It's more of a question of who. My eyes go Fitzmagic here just because he can have those boom games.
Mm-hmm.
But I also think Baker might be a solid pick just because he's got weapons.
So I'll tell you, I would pick Fitzmagic here. I think ceiling is more important than consistency in best ball, and Fitzmagic can just he can just score you 30, 40 points.
Right, and I'm probably still going to get a 3rd quarterback here, so I could still, like I said, depending on who comes next, I can still grab myself Baker.
I get to draft even more Jonnu Smith. I have so many Jonnu Smith shares.
Can we have a snipe count this draft? Because it's like
you should have seen. I called it like 11 rounds ago. I said I'm gonna draft Jonnu Smith in like the 11th round, and then I picked him in the 13th round. Frankie, I told you this was coming.
We're gonna do that, and then we're gonna just sit here and we're gonna take a look at the field for a minute. And you know what?
Vital, does it count as a snipe if I told Frankie it was going to happen when I picked
No.
TJ Hawkinson?
You send him the manifesto in the mail that he's going to get shot in the 13th round.
We're going to do that.
Shot in the 13th round.
Oh, nice. Frankie didn't pick the guy I wanted. So now I'm going to turn around and I'm going to grab Mr. Jacoby Myers. I don't know who's going to get the targets in New England. It might be Jonah, it might be Jacoby, it might be both of them. But it
might be
if
neither of
wide
them.
receivers. I mean, someone has to get targeted.
Yeah, it's gonna be Nelson Aguilar.
No, Nelson Aguilar gets 50 targets a season and drops half of them. If somebody gets the targets, it's going to be. I think it's going to be either Jacoby or Jonah, and it could be both. I don't mind having shares of both of them, even on the same team in best ball, because I think that it's a valuable position to have, to be able to have the one on a team, especially this late in the draft. It might be a valuable one. It might be a high volume one, but it's still a one, in my opinion, at least.
Here I'm going to go with a guy that I think could.
Ooh, the Wentz wagon, huh?
Yeah, I'm going with the Wentz wagon there to be my third quarterback, just to
Sure.
lock that position up. I think there's something there with him. Like I said, he's getting back with Frank Reich.
Reunited, and it feels so good.
Yeah, there was a season where he was legitimately in MVP talks when he was with Frank Reich, and he's getting a solid offense with a great run game and a great defense.
Solid offense. He's getting one of the best offenses in the league.
I was just downplaying a little bit just so I could be like, and from my conservative take here.
No. Like he's getting one of the best O lines in the league, one of the best running backs in the league, a good young receiver core. Mo Alley Cox is roughly the size of two human beings. I believe Jack Doyle is still on the team, and he's just a pair of hands with glue on them.
Yep. So it's like all those reasons, like there's some smoke there, and so I think there's gonna be some fire. And in
Plus,
the 14th round,
everyone's sleeping on Nyheim Hines. Nyheim Hines is a great pass catcher.
Yep.
Honestly, that's my main worry for Jonathan Taylor is Nyheim Hines
It
still
doesn't
being
matter.
there.
We saw it last season. They can coexist. Jonathan Taylor still gets passing volume with Nyheim Hines because they use Nyheim Hines as a wide receiver.
Yeah, if I was a little bit lighter on running back, I would go 6 deep and I was going to take Nyheim Hines there. I like Nyheim Hines that pick. It's just like I went 3 out the gate and I was like, I don't need him.
Also, on that, I hate the Nyheim Hines is going to cannibalize Taylor take, because Taylor is, in my not so conservative opinion, the second or third best running back in the league talent wise. And it doesn't matter at that point if he has other guys in the running back room. He's gonna dominate because that's what alpha running backs do. He's gonna get touches, and the touches he gets, he's gonna run through people.
Yep.
He's gonna be so good for fantasy this year, and people are just gonna be dodging him because, oh no, Marlon Mack is back. Like they drafted Jonathan Taylor because they were gonna use Marlon Mack a lot.
I'm not worried about Marlon Mack at all.
But as we come storming back down to our picks again.
Yeah, I mean it's going fast in these late rounds. I do like the Derek Carr at 15-4. He's one of the late round guys that I'm a fan of.
Yeah. I think honestly, if it falls to me, I mean, I'm gonna jinx it by saying it, but I think I take Rob Gronkowski here. Just like he's just a great touchdown upside guy. That offense should produce touchdowns, so he should have a lot of he's obviously got trust with the quarterback.
So if I was in your position, I would take Slammy Watkins here. I'm only telling you that because I already have Bateman, and I'm not gonna draft 2 Ravens wide receivers. Yeah. But Sammy Watkins is just gonna he's a 15th round guy that's just gonna win you a week, and that's it. He's gonna win you 1 week.
That's it. Count him.
You don't know which week it's gonna be, but it doesn't matter because
he will have a 3 touchdown week.
Yeah. There's going to be a week where he catches every single touchdown from Lamar. It's going to be like a 4. Oh, he's off the board. Well,
yeah.
Clearly, Buck T listens to my thoughts.
I like Slammy.
I told you guys we're live streaming this.
I like Slammy. I mean, for his price point, it's like him being on Baltimore is whatever at this point, because like I said, you're drafting him for like 2 games.
I like him for the same reason I like Rashad Bateman, but I think Rashad Bateman has a broader appeal, whereas Sammy Watkins is like 1 to 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So you taking Gronk here?
I'm just gonna take Gronk here, close out that position, and just start going back and forth and running.
I don't hate it.
Yeah.
Tight end dries up immediately after my pick.
Yeah, like I said, and then like I said, I have 3 quality tight ends. So even if Andrews has
unless
that,
Gravy Train screws me here.
I mean, he's only got 8 wide receivers. Maybe he wants to make this 9.
That's fair. I'm hoping he does. Maybe a nice yeah. Oh yes, he didn't. He took another running back. Yes, I get to get my other favorite late round tight end. Welcome to the Bear Sharks, Jared Cook. I think Jared Cook going into Los Angeles is he's an old guy at this point. Like that's great for him because Justin Herbert is so much like I am sorry that I ever doubted him. He is so good at football. And Hunter Henry's gone, so the position is completely vacated. Jared Cook should be able to just stand in the end zone and just, like, put his hands up and catch a touchdown every once in a while.
And
it's great.
One thing I will say, these are some of my favorite rounds because there's some guys you could just take where it's like, I will never, ever roster this guy in a regular draft. But if there's even a twinkle in your eye, like a teeny little one, you're just like, there's a sliver of talent there. I'm just going to roll the dice on it. So it's like there's all these guys back here that fit in that category.
Hey, we're
like the guy I just drafted, Kadarius Toney. I'm never drafting him in redraft unless it's like a 20 round draft.
Yeah, same thing for who I'm assuming he's not going to get sniped because I don't think he's going 9 wide receivers. And I also don't think he's scrolling down this far. I'm going Denzel Mims here. He's a great big man body, and who knows, maybe Zach Wilson can do it. But
I mean. So far from what I've heard, it seems like Corey Davis has been the guy in New York with Zach Wilson. But I mean, if Zach Wilson is the quarterback that everyone thinks he is, he can support 2 wide receivers. There are plenty of quarterbacks that can.
Yeah,
we know Corey Davis can do the disappearing act.
Well, yeah, I was
sure. Corey Davis does his best Sterling Shepard impressions and just becomes the wide receiver too.
Yeah, I was on the Denzel Mims train. I mean,
Denzel Mims.
I already had Corey Davis, and I was like, I really don't want to have 2 Jets on my team.
Yeah.
I will say, I'm shocked you didn't pick old Senor Crab Legs there. I was thinking about it at my pick, but I was like, no, I need to pick Jared Cook. And then on the turn, I was like, I would love to pick a third quarterback here, but I've already got Brady and Tannehill. I don't need Jameis Winston to add to that crowd. I need upside receivers. But like, this is the range where I love picking Crab Legs. I mean, let me look at my exposure. I have 36.4% rostership for Jameis Winston. Like I've been hitting his draft button hard in best ball.
Yeah, like I said, I think he's a great quarterback to take here. Like I mean, I'm in this range. I'm even considering taking Sam Darnold just to be like, he was so hyped. He was supposed to be so good.
You're counting on that post Gase bump.
Yeah, it's soon to be just a trackable stat where people, teams will bring him in for a year just to be like, all right, we need the top pick and then we need to start doing well. Bring in Gase, let him run your team to the ground, get that first pick, maybe second because he somehow is bad at getting the first pick as well. But and then just get that post.
As you see by our graph here, teams that play after Adam Gase leaves get a 17% increase in production.
Yeah, I mean we definitely saw the playoffs.
You have like a PowerPoint.
Yeah, hire me for a season. I'll bring it in. I'll get you the first round pick. Like I can help you out. It's just his name's Adam Gase. Just give him a one year contract. I don't care where
he just becomes rich by being hated.
He doesn't even have to actually be the head coach. Just let him pretend he is and let him run the team for 1 year. So, like, give the ball away.
They give him an Etch-a-Sketch. He's over there like, you guys got that play? Can anyone hear me? No one's talking to me. He's got like an Etch-a-Sketch and a banana phone over there on the sidelines. Like
all your players down. Just go, all right, guys, listen. I know this is gonna suck. This is gonna real suck. But we're gonna get that sweet Adam Gase bump. So get as mad as you want at him. Yell at him on social media. Tell us we suck. We're just not gonna get rid of you. We're getting rid of him next season. Don't worry, guys.
Oh, it's so dumb. It's so dumb that it's a thing. Like it's happened on enough teams at this point that if Darnold does it, people are going to be like, okay, I guess Adam Gase just makes players worse. He's one of the few coaches in the league that he's like the reincarnation of Jeff Fisher. Just whatever team he goes to sucks.
Yep. Oh, Jeff Fisher.
He was a name I forgot about right until I was saying that sentence. My brain didn't even know that was coming until the sentence started happening.
Great example, Jeff Fisher with Todd Gurley.
Yeah.
Holding him down.
He held a lot of teams down.
I don't want to talk about it.
Vitaly, your pick is coming up here. What are you thinking about?
I don't know.
You have 3 quarterbacks. I think that means your quarterback position is done.
But that Gase bump, though.
I think that. I mean, what quarterbacks do you have? So you've got Stafford, Fitzpatrick, and Wentz. That you're pretty set at that position, unless you think that. So I'd say the one risky thing there is Stafford and Wentz have had injury issues, and Fitzpatrick frequently gets benched.
Yep. That's why
you have the you have the weakest and most exciting 3 quarterback room I think I've ever seen.
Right, it could be all just guns a-blazing 1 week, and then they all get hurt and had no quarterback the next week.
Yeah, Fitzpatrick has one of his 5 interception games, and they bench him for I don't even know who's his backup.
I'm doing it. I'm going for the Gase bump.
Interesting.
I
Okay.
talked myself into it. I want that Dean.
I would have not. I would have gone in a different direction there, but I think I would have taken Van Jefferson or. maybe Nico Collins and just counting on somebody needing to catch passes in Houston.
Yeah, like I said, there's some other guys I still like out there. It's just after that they're literally. I mean, Deshaun Watson, you can gamble on him, but I wouldn't. But
I think I'm gambling on him maybe playing 6 games this season.
yeah.
No, like I said, I'm going to do it exactly what I said. I'm going to take Van Jefferson here. I think that he's in a great spot on the Ram. Like he just got a massive quarterback upgrade, and Josh Reynolds isn't on the team anymore. Somebody he's gonna
That's
get
5, by the way.
Yeah, he's gonna get some trickle down passes. Cooper Kupp's got hurt before. He could easily end up being the wide receiver 2 on that team. You're welcome, Frank. I told you in round 1 that I was gonna snipe the shit out of you this draft.
I would say.
KJ Hamler, huh?
Hey, you sniped me. That was my next pick. KJ Hamler. I love his route running. His footwork is amazing, and he's a great dart throw at the end. I was gonna say I figured Frankie here a good pick would be Tariq Cohen just to get yourself a 6 running.
No.
Back, or go quarterback and just deep dive at some guy you like.
I was thinking about going quarterback here. I ended up just
honestly for me
getting another wide receiver.
Yeah, you listened to my outer monologue and took Nico Collins, gambling that he's going to catch some passes.
Yeah, because you took Van Jefferson.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to grab Alan Lazard here. He's not exciting, but he's done good things. He was doing great last season before his core injury. If Rodgers stays in Green Bay, he's probably the wide receiver 2 there. So you could do worse with your final pick in the draft. And that puts me in a very comfortable 2-5-8-3. I don't typically like to have only 2 quarterbacks, but I'm not too worried about it with Brady and Tannehill. So it still feels weird to be saying I'm not too worried about having one of my 2 quarterbacks being Tannehill, but
yeah,
it's a weird world.
That case bump.
No, like I said, I'm honestly kind of fine with looking at this team. I mean, it ended up being a little more wide receiver heavy than I was expecting, but I got a lot of interesting upside guys. I got the exact 3 tight ends that if I could exit every draft with these 3 tight ends, I would never be mad.
Yeah.
I don't like the 12 slot at all.
Yeah, I was gonna go KJ Hamler there for my last pick, but I was just I'm gonna grab a wide receiver just to give myself somebody that might come down with a ball for a touchdown in 1 week. So
Sure.
I just picked the team that has the most touchdowns usually, KC. So DeMarcus Robinson, he usually comes down with about 40, 50 balls, and one of those can go in the end zone with Pat Mahomes. So that's a week that he could fill in for a guy who's just done when my receivers aren't panning out.
So as this draft wraps up, I've already kind of talked about my team, but I want to do it quickly, and I'll circle back around and just give my closing thoughts on mine at the end. Vitaly, why don't you lead us off? Walk me through your team, and not a full review, but tell me what you think went really well for this team, and what you think went really poorly for this team.
So the thing I liked that I stuck to my guns about was I was going to go very heavy running back. Usually you want to steer away from the skid, be the contrarian sometimes, but with how shallow running back is, sometimes I find it hard to just steer hard into it. So I went triple running back off the bat, and I think they gave me a great anchor, and I think I backed that up with 2 solid young running backs that could either pop or at least keep my lineup together. And then I grabbed some players that have some pop upside, and this is a lineup that I wouldn't be too jazzed about having in redraft, but with best ball, it's one where I could just, you drop the pieces and half of these guys could just have huge weeks and win me, keep winning me week after week after week. So usually going 4 quarterbacks is not my thing, but as you were talking about right before I took Sam Darnold, I have 3 quarterbacks that are injury prone, older, could get benched. There's a whole lot of question marks. So I'll just take the guy that, Carolina just said that you're the guy until you're not.
Yeah, they're basically giving a prove it season.
Yeah, he's going to be there, and he'll probably get low end points unless he gets that Gates bump.
I mean, they do have a great wide receiver room and a lesser known guy named Christian McCaffrey.
I heard he's pretty good.
I think looking at your team, because I'm looking at both your teams right now, and I have the draft board up on the screen. I think the only thing I don't like about your team is Chase Claypool.
Yeah, I think
that his prices. So I think I get what you were going for drafting him. I think that he's going to be that boom guy, but I think for me his price is too high right now.
Because to me he's more like a Sammy Watkins boom guy that you're paying triple the Sammy Watkins value for.
Yeah.
just looking around him, I mean, obviously, I would have picked OBJ to be honest, but I think like Robbie Anderson, I would have picked him, or maybe even Michael Gallup. Probably, it would have been a toss because I mean we saw the kind of year Gallup had last year. He pulled it together at the end, but I think his price is just too high for me.
So Frankie, what do you like about your team? Before I just give my closing thoughts about mine.
So for me, I ideally wanted to go 3 for 4 for running backs. It didn't really work out like that. But I do like that I got 2 pretty consistent wide receivers in Allen Robinson and Terry McLaurin.
Sure.
But I think that at the end of the draft, I kind of tailed off a little bit. I mean, I got Aaron Rodgers. Again, I would have rather had Stafford there.
You did also suffer from drafting very close to me and Vitali.
Yeah. But, honestly, I'm not jazzed about it, but I'm not super unjazzed about it. My tight ends are fine. I mean, I would have rather had a Gesicki, which again I would have had to reach on.
So overall, you're rocking that smooth jazz.
I'm less than happy, but not unhappy.
See, sorry, do you have a comment?
Go ahead.
I would say, I think contrary to what you were saying, I'm actually extremely happy with how my team panned out. Like there were a couple picks where there were guys that I really wanted that missed falling by a couple picks. James Conner, Sammy Watkins, to name a few. But overall, this is exactly what I want to exit a best ball draft with. 2 hyper upside. What? You looking at one of the other teams?
I'm looking at Gravy Train. I wanted to see how he did.
It's rough.
It's rough.
It's not great.
His quarterback is Tua Tagovailoa.
Like,
his wide receivers are not good enough to justify the fact that he went that deep.
Let's hope he doesn't get injured.
But my best ball team that I'm exiting this draft with is almost like the prototypical team that I'm trying to draft this year. I've got a top to bottom extremely solid running back room, 2 quarterbacks that I feel like I can rely on week in, week out, a couple reliable wide receivers, and then just guys that could go to the moon or score 0. But chances are I'm going to have at least one of them go to the moon on any given week, and then 3 tight ends, all of which are either upside guys or just steady eddies like Jared Cook. So I am regularly very happy with teams that end up looking like this post draft. I think this is almost like what you are aiming for if you're playing in a best ball draft. Yeah. There were a couple guys I wish I had landed instead. Eckler instead of Mixon, but can't complain too much.
I mean, that's the way the news goes sometimes.
Also, I am up to 58.3% exposure on Jonnu Smith.
I mean, sometimes drafts are gonna fly away. Sometimes they're not. It's all about adapting in the moment. And,
no, absolutely.
You should always. I mean, we talked about this in our tips for drafting before last year. Go check out that video if you haven't.
We're gonna be doing a new one soon too. So
but
keep an eye out for the updated 2021 version.
Yeah, you always have to be prepared. Like, don't just home in on one player. Always have audibles.
All right. Well, I think that'll do it for our most recent Best Ball episode. Tune in next week when we bring you guys our. What do you guys say? We do busts and values.
Sure, I can talk about
Yeah.
some people.
Yeah. Tune in next week when we bring you guys some of our favorite values and some of our favorite busts. Or maybe not favorite busts, but it's hard to have a favorite bust. But
I gotta go better. I gotta do better this season. I was over 2 with my bust last year.
we'll do a boom and bust episode next week. That's always fun.
Yeah.
See you guys later.